So now we've done this observation, we've sat down, we've gotten still, we've found out within our bodies where the grief is existing. But why is this even important? What difference does it make if we know where the grief exists in our body? Knowing where this grief is living in the physical body, it connects us to the practice of tending to the grief. When we are able to observe where grief lives, we can better tend to it, right? Validation in and of itself is healing, right? But when we know, for example, that the grief that we feel is living in the chest, then we can breathe into it. It's like in yoga or when you're stretching and take your head over and it feels really tight. You can feel like the soreness or the stiffness maybe in the muscles that are tight in the neck. And so we energetically breathe, right? We send that breath into the neck to help open up the space. And so the same thing exists when we are locating that grief within the body. If you feel the grief in your chest, we know then that we can breathe more into the chest. We can do heart opening exercises and stretches. We can find ways to open up the chest space and create more room and movement for that grief to be moved out. But maybe you feel that grief in the throat. But knowing that you feel it in the throat now tells us that, okay, maybe I need to talk about my grief more. Maybe I need to sing songs or hum or maybe warm tea or maybe massage, right? We can begin to find the practices that are going to be necessary to help heal the spaces in which we feel the grief. So a lot of it is about noticing. It's about noticing. It's about becoming aware. It's about taking time to notice. And that's really important because more often than not, first of all, we try to intellectualize grief a lot. And it's not just this cerebral process. When we get past a certain point in our grief, a lot of times we start to suppress the grief. We say things like, I'm fine, or, everything's okay, or, I'm okay, or I'm doing well, or we busy ourselves. And so while this may seem like it's making the grief less, externally, the body keeps the score, right? Like the body still knows what's going on with the grief, because saying I'm fine but not really being fine are two totally different things. And your words might come out as such and people might believe you, but you can't lie to your body. So knowing where the grief is living and knowing where you are holding that in your body, it gives you a chance to fully connect to it and a way that you can work with it instead of drowning in it or trying to drown it out.